Today we're going to be using a tutorial for using the recipe manager or the recipe plus components of FactoryTalk View Studio. We're going to use an emulator controller. We're going to be using Studio 5000, which is version 21. Well, in this case it's version 21. I'll call this recipe tutorial. Select next. Use slot 2 if you have not set up the emulator before. You'll see that we have it set up an emulator in slot 2, and that's what we're going to use. Give it a description, YouTube tut, just because. Select finish. It'll generate a new one. No, I don't want to save it. Alright, now we have a recipe tutorial. We're going to go ahead and add in a few controller tags. So we need to select edit. And these tags are going to be used for the recipe manager or in our recipe editor. So we're going to be using a tank in this tutorial, and we're going to be mixing up some barbecue sauce. I'm going to use a few tags, nothing major. This is not how you make barbecue sauce by no means, but just a way to show you how to use the recipe manager. So we're going to use an agitator, and we're going to want the agitator to spin at a certain speed, not an alias. We'll use it as a dent. Description, VFD, speed. Just give it something. And we're going to want a time, so agitation time. This will be in minutes. Alright, we're also going to want to add an amount of spice, so let's put spice, fill, and we will use a reel for that because we'll do it with weight. Okay. So we got 3 tags. We're going to have a time, a spice fill, and a speed. Let's also use direction. We'll call it agitator direction. And that one will be a Boolean tag. So 0 will equal forward, 1 will equal reverse. Okay, that should be enough tags. That's all we're going to need. We're not going to write any code. We're not going to build a whole agitation process or anything. So we're going to go ahead and download this to our emulator. It's in slot 2. If you haven't seen how to do all this, please go back and visit my other tutorials. It'll help you out. Let's go ahead and download it. And we'll just go online and we'll put this in run. Okay, no faults. Controller's running. All it has is 4 tags in it. Or call this is the FactoryTalk View Studio. I already opened it up, so we're creating a new project. We're going to call it Recipe Tutorial 1. Same thing. Always use descriptions. We'll create this. I'll go ahead and pause this. It'll take just a minute to fire. Okay, now that it fired up, the first thing we're going to want to do is let's get some communication set up. So we'll go down to communication. We'll create a new configuration. It's the top one here. Remember, we're going to want to add our PLC, so we'll just put PLC. And now we're going to want to grab that emulator, and we're going to hit apply, so that our shortcut is applied to our emulator. Again, this is if you haven't set up anything with FactoryTalk View before, you want to go back and watch the emulator tutorial. It'll help you get started. Everything's good here, so we're going to select OK. Now we're going to go up to our project settings. We'll make sure that the window size is made for whatever panel view you're building it for, whether it's a regular HMI or you know, a panel view terminal. So we're going to use a 700/1000. It's 640 by 480. The reason I'm going to use this is because I want to show you that you can scale the components that we're going to use out of the library. So we're going to go ahead and go to our displays. We'll open up the main here. We're going to get rid of the shutdown button. You'll want to incorporate that somewhere in your program. We're going to change the back screen color. We're going to change it to a gray color. I'm going to open this up to full size. We'll go ahead and go to our library now, which is over here in our project tree. We'll scroll on down to our Recipe Plus components. We'll open it up. We're going to highlight all of this, and then we're going to group it together. Now we're going to right click and we want to copy it. We'll minimize that. We'll come back because we're going to do something with it here in a minute. I'm going to right click here on our main display. We're going to paste it here. And now that, because it's still all grouped and you can tell it's outside of our window, we're going to want to go ahead and scale that up into our window. Looks pretty good. We'll go with that. And we're going to go ahead and ungroup this now, and we're going to do a few little arrangements here. So we're going to grab a hold of this little set window. We'll drag it up here towards the top. Now we're going to grab the window itself. We're going to enlarge it, and we're going to grab this message display. We're going to pull it down. Now this way it'll display any messages that are longer than the window is, or that are wider than the window is in width, and display it as wrap text. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the upload and create button right here. We're going to throw it down here in the recipe table, and it makes sense to keep it down here as you're going to upload the recipe that's already there, and you want to create one, and you're going to use the table here to do that. Restore. Restore is basically pulling all the values that you have downloaded into the processor, pulls it up, and shows you what you're using in the process currently versus what the recipe has set up in it. So I think it should just be update table, but we'll leave it at restore. You guys can change it, do whatever you want after that. So we'll leave that alone. Everything else here looks rather simple. A couple things here we're going to get rid of. I don't want to have this compare here. What that's going to do is it'll put an X in anything that's different between your recipe file and what you're currently using. So in order to remove these columns or make these columns wider, we're going to click on this and go into its properties. One here it says tag. That's going to show you the tag name that's associated with the ingredient, and that'll make sense here in just a few minutes. So let's go ahead and open this up, and we're going to go to where it says recipe, and we do not want to, I don't want to display the column. You might want to. We're not going to in this one. And the compare one, we'll go ahead and get rid of it. We're going to hit apply. As you can tell, the window changed. Select OK, and you have your current, and you have your recipe here. You can go in here and change these and make them double line, all sorts of different things from within the properties group in this window. But we're not going to get into that in this tutorial. Alright, the next thing we're going to need is to do here is we're going to go ahead and close the library. We don't need anything else out of it. Click out here in this window. Let's save it. And let's go ahead and close it so we can come back down here. Remember, this is your library window that we took those components out of. As you can see, the tag names here, we get rid of this column and this column to fit it within that small touchscreen. We'll go ahead and hit exit. Do we want to save it? No. Why is it asked to save? Because I grouped everything together. We'll go down here into your Recipe Plus folder. Let's take a look at the setup. This is the recipe file location. We're just going to go ahead and leave this one default so that the recipe files are part of the HMI project. You can specify them to be elsewhere, storage card, and the storage cards from the terminal only. You can put it in a shared folder on a network if you're using SE, but we're just going to keep it simple, keeping the project. So that's fine. Now we'll go down to our Recipe Plus editor. Now here's where we get started. We're going to make a brand new recipe. So remember, we're going to do barbecue sauce, so type in BBQ sauce. Alright, two things we're going to need: a status tag and a percent tag. These can be whatever you want to call them. It doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to keep it roughly the same, and I'll show you why. So we'll go into tags, and I'm going to create a status tag. The status tag is going to be an analog number. Now the status tag, we're going to add an extra 0 to it, so it's 0 to 1000. Device memory, and we'll go ahead and hit accept. The next one, line down, we're going to add another one. We're going to call this percent complete tag. We're going to go and make that analog as well, 0 to 100, because it's 100% is complete. That's a memory, and accept. That is all we're going to need there. We can close it and come into here. We'll refresh our, well, we don't have to, it already populated for us. So we're going to use the status tag, because we went into we hit the lift C button there, so that we ended up into our tag browser, and we're going to select the status tag as that's the one we're looking for. Select OK, and now we'll do the percent complete tag. Select OK. Both tags are in. This is set up. The status tag is for part of what your recipe manager is doing. It uses it, it displays information in your message window. So we're going to go into ingredients now, but first let's make a unit. A unit is not part of the recipe. So this is recipe, and in the recipe you can have different let me go back and look. I don't want to tell you wrong. Open it up. You have different units in that recipe. So we'll go to unit. Let's edit this one, and we're going to call this honey. So it's barbecue honey sauce. We're going to use dataset 1, as we only have one dataset. The dataset is the values you store for the recipe itself. The tag set is going to be the tag that we reference in the processor. So we'll go back to ingredients now. Let's pull the processor up so we remember what we had. We have 4 things that we want to put in here. So we're going to need the agitator speed, the agitator time, the direction, and the spice fill and weight. So this will be the agitator speed, if I can spell today. And I'm going to make sure that the operator knows that this is in hertz. Most of them won't understand that, but we will. And I'm going to set this up from 0 to 80 hertz. Now I'm going to add 2 extra zeros. We're going to pretend we're using PowerFlex 525, and that allows it to be at, if you want to select intermediate, so 23.25 hertz, or etc. and so forth. That's why we're setting up here. Remember, you'll have to set up the max frequency in the drive that you use to 80 in order to make it there. If you don't know how to do that, the PowerFlex 525s, I've made a few tutorials using those, and you'll be able to go through and see that. Okay, data. This is what we want our honey to run at. So we want the speed of the agitator to run at 30.25 hertz. And now we're going to need to add a tag for it. So we want to reference that tag. So we're going to go down here to our tag browser. Now what I do there, I right-clicked in the box, and I'm going to go to our tag browser, or you can press Control T. Our PLC isn't here, but we did set it up already. So we're going to need to right click and refresh all the folders. Here's our PLC, and we're going to go to the online, and we're going to grab our agitator hertz because that's what we're using. Now we're going to make the next one. We're going to call this sorry, I know I'm a little back on this. We're going to call this agitation time because this is the amount of time we're going to agitate this for. And it's from 0 to 60. We'll go back here and we're going to add this because in this one we'll call it that it's in minutes. Now the reason I'm putting some of this stuff into these parentheses here, or not parentheses, the reason I'm putting these things in here is because this way the operator understands what we're changing or what they're changing. And they want to absolutely understand everything in this group, but they'll at least know what they're doing and what it's in. So we're referencing minutes here. From 0 to 60 minutes is of course an hour. You can make this number longer or whatever. So we're going to agitate this for 15 minutes. And now again, you'd right click, or while it's highlighted, press Control T, and then we have our agitation time. So now we're going to do another one, and I forgot, it's a direction, which is a boolean. So agitator time, or direction, again. We'll go ahead and put these in just so that they understand what it is. So 0 equals forward, and 1 equals reverse. So 0, or max, of course, is 1, and we're going to want this to run forward. Then we'll do the same thing, Control T, and we're going to grab the direction. And then the final one is going to be our spice fill. If we're using an autoloader, for example, we're going to fill that basket up to whatever amount of weight you want. Spice fill and spice fill, and then we'll do the same thing so they know they're doing it in pounds. It's also a number, so it's 0 to 100.0. Well, 0.00. And then we're going to put in 12.25 pounds. Tag browser, spice fill, and that's it. That's all we have. We can go ahead and we're going to close this. So we have barbecue sauce, we have our ingredients, and our unit. And our unit is happens to be the recipe in general that we're working with here. So we'll close it. Yep, we're going to save it. We're going to call it barbecue sauce. Select OK. Alright. Go back here and we can add another one if we wish. And I'll show you that here in just a few minutes. We're going to go through and make sure that all of this is working as we said it would. So I'm going to grab a hold of the window here. Let's go ahead and play it. As you can tell, here it is. So grab the information that we had for barbecue sauce. The only unit that we had was honey in there, so we're making a barbecue sauce and it's the honey version. So we want to go ahead and make sure that that's highlighted by making sure it's selected. You may have more in here, so you use these up and down arrows to find them. And in this tutorial we only got the one so far. So we're going to go ahead and download that one to the processor, and now we're going to restore. Restore should be update recipe table. So right click, as you can tell, it updated the table, and maybe we'll go down here and select put update there, but we're not probably going to do this one in this one. So we'll get back into this now. As you can tell that we downloaded this recipe. if you remember, we put in that the current or that the recipe was for 30.25 hertz. So in the processor right now, since we downloaded it and it was successful, that it put the recipe in that we asked it to put in. So we want to change this. Let's say that it needs to be faster because it's not doing what it's supposed to. So go and highlight what you want. Let's change the speed. Let's put it at 60 hertz. Select enter. And then we need to go ahead and save it and then download it. And now we'll go ahead and update our table, and it shows that what's in the processor right now is 60 hertz. And it's going to run the agitator full speed for 15 minutes, and it's going to add 12.5 pounds of spice to it, or whatever our ingredient is that we're putting into it. If we go here, we'll pull up the processor that's online, move it over here, and we'll select monitor the tags. And you can tell that the agitator hertz, speed in hertz, is set at 60. The amount of time is 15. The direction is 0, and the spice fill itself is we're going to put in 12.25 pounds. So let's change it so you can watch it actually change it. So let's minimize this up just a hair so we can see all of it. We'll scroll down just a little bit. Let's open the window a little bigger here. Slide it over so you can kind of see everything. Alright, so let's change the agitation time. So here's the agitation time, it's 15. It's 15. So we'll go down, enter, and we'll do it for 22 minutes. Select enter. Now let's go ahead. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it. And let's go ahead and download it to the processor. So remember, right now we're at 15. And 15, the recipe that we have selected here, it says the recipe has got to be changed to 22 for this one. So when we hit download, when we hit download, it's going to download it to the processor, and it's going to change the value here. So here we go, download. There it is. It changed it to 22. As you can tell, the current still says it's 15. It's because we haven't updated the table. So let's go ahead and hit restore, which should be update. And it shows that we are currently at 22. So at 22 minutes. So that's everything for setting up the recipe manager. You can tell everything worked there. So let's go ahead now while we're online and let's upload and create a new unit for the recipe barbecue sauce. So we're going to select upload and create. We want to edit the name. So the first one was honey. We'll just call this hot. We'll select enter. We'll select enter. Now we'll come down here. If you look down here, we still have honey in the table. If you hit restore, we now have hot. So when we restored it, it is now set at hot. So as you know, when you upload and you created a new one, what you already have here in the table is the fact that it is the hot version. So now for the hot, we want to come down here and we're going to change this to, we'll add 25.5 pounds. And we're going to hit save. And then we want to slowly agitate it, so we need to change the agitation time to 25.5 hertz. So now all we have to do is select save and then download. Let's pop this up. We'll minimize this again so that we can see it. So we're going to change it from the hertz up here to, I don't know why I put point there. We need to fix that. So 25.50, enter. So we're going to 25.5 hertz. And we need to resave that. And now we can go ahead and download it. And there it is, it's updated here. Remember, the current didn't show it, but it did say that your download was successful. And if you hit restore / update, you'll update your current, you'll know what's in your processor. So that's how you add another unit of a recipe that you have set up. Now in order to add another recipe, we're going to have to do that directly down in here. So we'll go ahead and we'll maximize this up, and now we're going to add another one. Before we do that, let's go ahead and go in the processor, and we're going to add we'll add 3 tags. We'll just do 3 to help speed this up. So we're going to close this one out. And let's do something a little out of the ordinary. Let's use program tags. So I want to edit. Now we'll say this is a tumbler. So we're going to use tumble time. And that's also in minutes. We'll use tumble direction. So 0 equals soft, 1 equals hard. And then we'll throw in an angle. So tumbler angle in degrees. Okay, we go up here. We need to come back up. We actually need to go offline because I need to change this. I made a boo-boo. This one needs to be a boolean. And let's go ahead and we can leave it at that. So we have a tumble time, we have a direction, and we have an angle. So those will work for what we're going to do here. So we'll go ahead and download this to the processor. So some controllers allow you to do this, where you're in version 21 using Studio 5000, where you can put all the documentation and any extended properties you have into the controller itself, so that when you go and you upload from the controller, all that information comes back to you. So that's why it's very nice, very critical to put documentation in with your code so that the next guy understands what you were doing there. So we'll go ahead and download it. It'll take a few seconds here. Okay, now that that's done, we'll go ahead and we'll go over here so we can, well, that's not done. Alright, now that's done, we can go over here and monitor the tags. So we have a time, direction, and an angle. So same thing, we'll minimize it, we'll slide it over here to the side. We'll come in here now, and now we're going to add a new recipe completely all together. So we're just going to call this one roast, because let's say we're going to use our barbecue sauce and do some dry rub to it and make it barbecue roast. Sounds good, doesn't it? We'll use the same thing. So we'll come up here, we'll grab our status tag, and then we'll grab a percent tag, and then go into our ingredients. So put tumble time 0 to 60. Say for this one, let's say we want it to be 15 minutes. We'll do tumbler angle. Remember in here to add it so that they know what they're changing it to. Zero to 90, because I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to flip it upside down. And we'll have this at 42 degrees. Okay. And then we have tumbler direction. If you remember, 0 was soft, and 1 equals hard. 0, 1, and in this one we want it to do it. We want to beat the barbecue sauce into it. Alright. That also softens the roast up. So, alright, let's go here and check her out. Make sure we got everything. Yep, looks like we got everything. It's good. Angle decimal's fine for this tutorial. Alright, remember, go over here, let's add our tag. Tag browser. We have to refresh all the folders because we added some tags. So we go to the online, and we made program tags. So here's our 3 program tags. So the first one was time. The second one was the angle of the tumbler itself. And the third one was the direction we want it to tumble in. So everything looks good. We can slide this over to make sure that our tags were correct. This window is just not big enough, is it? Doesn't like me. I'm pretty sure they're correct anyway. Here, just double click. We'll scroll on over and see what we got. Yep. Looks good. So now we're going to go over here and we're going to call this one. This will be barbecue honey. We'll use dataset 1, tag set 1. So there's tag set 1, or tag set 1 and dataset 1. So we're going to hit close. Yep, we want to save it. We'll call it roast. Select OK. Alright. So scroll back up the page here. And we're going to go ahead and hit the play button. And now you'll see that we have roast, and it's our barbecued honey one. So right now, if we do a restore, it's going to tell us that we have barbecue sauce and honey. So we're doing the agitator, but we want to do the tumbler. So we're going to scroll on down here, and we're going to send these values over to our tumbler. So we'll go ahead and do a restore. That brings up the information from here and what's out there currently in those tags. Of course, nothing is because we haven't sent nothing to it. We're going to do 15 minutes at a 42-degree angle, and we're going to, the direction for the tumbler is going to be 1, which is a hard tumble. Let's go ahead and download those values, and we'll throw those up here so you can see it work. There we go. So we're going to download. Well, I knew that didn't work. We have to go on line 2. My mistake. It updated because we sent the values there. And now we'll minimize this week. That might help. Alright. Then we're going to update. So let's see what's there. And shows 15, 42, and 1. So we know those went there. So let's change it, the tumble time, to 20 minutes. And then let's go here and change the angle from 42. Let's make that at 25. Now let's go ahead and save that recipe. And if we do a restore, you'll see that the recipe is is at 20. What's in there right now is 15. We need to do a download. Downloaded. You can tell I changed it to 20, 1, and 25. Now if we update our recipe table, you can see them right there. Alright. Of course, same way to add another one. So if I want to add another barbecue, we would do upload and create. Let's add another roast. So we'll upload our unit. Since we got hot up there, let's go ahead and just use hot. Enter. Enter. And now we have a hot. So our upload and create was successful. So if we come down to here, let's open this window so we can see the bottom. So right now it says we're on the barbecue honey, which we looked at last. And we're going to go ahead and let's update this. We know we're on the roast. We know it's on hot. And we have 3 ingredients, and 3 of them have been loaded. So all these are up to date. If we come up here, we'll do a restore. It'll tell us what's there. It's the same thing because that's our barbecue honey roast. So let's go down here and restore this. And now that we restored it, it's loaded in our recipe table. Let's change it to 36 minutes. Let's change the degree here so let's use 10. And we'll softly tumble this. So we'll save it, and now we'll download it. It changed here. You can tell it changed those. So if we update our table, it shows you all the changes. So if I come up here now into roast and I select restore, it's going to show you the tumble time, what that recipe is, what the current one is, because we haven't downloaded it. Now if we download it, actually it just downloaded all the stuff. Download was successful. So there you have it. That's how you use the recipe tools that's provided within FactoryTalk View. Why don't I throw you a quick bonus here? You don't have to keep watching if you don't want, but we don't want everybody and their mom to be able to use this, correct? So let's go ahead and let's stop, and let's add a couple users real quick. We'll do a little quick tutorial with using some security. So got some users down here. Let's add a new one. So a new user. We'll call this guy operator. We don't want the operator to change his password. We don't want it to expire. And we're going to say OP1 will be the password. OP1. Select OK. Let's add one more. A service guy here, or a setup guy. We'll just put service. So service. We don't want to change. And we don't want it to expire. And we'll call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now let's go up here and set up our runtime security. So we need to add the guy here. So let's add a person, and we're just going to show the users only, and we're going to use the operator. Select OK. Okay, we want the operator to have everything except a few items. So we're going to leave B there for him. Go ahead and select OK. We can go up here to default guy, and we need to leave him with at least one of these codes. We're going to leave him with A. And now we'll add one more guy here. We're going to add the service guy. So show users, service guy, select OK. This guy's going to have everything. So we'll go ahead and close her out. Yep, we'll save it. Now we're going to come in here and I'm going to show you how to hide buttons on the screen using login identification, but how are we going to log in with this one? We need to add a login screen real quick. So login button. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with them. You can fancy them up, do what you want with them. So that's okay. And then we'll use the logout guy here. Throw that one right there. Select OK. Alright, upload and create. We probably don't want to be uploading a bunch of stuff and creating a ton of stuff from the operator. So we'll go to animation. We're going to hide that button. So we're going to go use an expression. Now let's use a function. And we're going to use security function, and the user has to have a certain code letter, and we're going to put that right in here. So we'll select OK, and in order to be able to change stuff, you're going to want to at least have a C under your access. You can check it, everything's good. Select OK, apply, close. We also probably don't want them to be renaming things, so we can throw that one in there too. Same thing, expression, function, security, letter, okay. We can throw the letter C in there. It's all good. Apply, close. We don't want them deleting anything either. So visibility. Control V. I copied it from the last one using Control C. Apply, close, and I believe that's good. Do we want them to save anything? The operator probably shouldn't. If they would need to make changes in ingredients and so forth, or speeds, then the service guy should probably want to be the one to do that. So we want to go ahead and we're going to hide that button as well. So visibility, I'm going to press Control V because that's our function. Hit apply. We're going to hit close. Alright. Did we do this one? I can't remember. We'll check it. Yep, we did. Okay. We did delete, and we left the save. No, we don't want to leave the save. So restore, yep. Upload and download, yes. And that should be good. We don't want our default guy to be able to do anything on here. Say we don't want him to download or upload, but we'll give him the restore option or update so you can see what's going on. So let's hide these two. Difference is we're going to use a different letter here. We're going to use letter B, or the security code B. We'll Control C that. I'll hit apply, hit close. Same thing here. Animation, visibility, apply, close. Alright, basically you have to log in and log out in order to be able to change things with different users. Let's go back up here to the security time. Let's see if it was in here, and it is. I don't see it. We know that people like to accidentally forget to log themselves out, so we're going to go change that real quick so that we automatically run everybody out. So you go to project settings, go to runtime. We want to enable auto logout. And we want to do that after, let's do that for 60 seconds. Select where you want to return to. Just return back to the main. Okay, everything's good, everything's set. Everything's all lined up. Let's go ahead and now this time, because we're going to use a login, we're going to have to run it. Now I'm going to tell you that you won't be able to save anything running it on the test emulator on here, but we'll be able to at least check everything out, make sure everything works. In order to add the stuff into the recipe manager and save all that is by doing it through the little test window. So last thing you want to ever do is set up security last. Okay, now that we're all started up, the only thing one person can do is restore it to see what's in there right now. And as you can tell, looks like we have nothing set up in this one here because we just don't. So we need to load something. So let's use the operator. And the operator's password, OP1. We'll log in. There's our upload download buttons that we needed. So let's go ahead and we're going to say we need to run a hot roast. So we'll download it. Skippers. And now we'll restore it. Looks like everything's good. Like I said, this guy can't make any changes. So he can come in here and make a change to run at 60 hertz or run it for 60 minutes. But you know, yeah, I want to continue. Restore. Let's see, he can't. There's nothing there because he can't change them. So we log him out. Let's log in the service guy because he needs to come make a change. Well, or the supervisor or whoever's on the line. Now once we log in, everything should come back. Everything's back that we need. So we need to change this because it needs to tumble for 50 minutes because they made a recipe change in the office. Now we'll go ahead and save it, and we'll go ahead and download it, and then we'll go ahead and restore it, and there it is. So the guy's job's done. Now if he sits here for 60 seconds, you should see it automatically log out. I know it's gonna be a waste of a minute, ain't it? But it's if I made any mistakes while going through this tutorial and you know something that I missed, feel free to leave in the comments below. Like, dislike, but if you dislike, please make sure that you let me know what I did wrong. That way I can correct it for further tutorials. I know this one was long. I didn't mean to keep it going through it, but I wanted to gradually work through this so that you understand what we're doing. But we should be coming up on that 60-second mark here soon. You should see it log out. sometime today. There it is. She logged out. So automatically logged out. And then the default user is left. If you want to do something creative, we can go back and see. Here we go. The changes you made to the recipe component during the test application mode will not be saved in your application. In the future, if you wish to save your recipe changes during testing, you should use the test display mode instead. So we just shut everything down. Let's open up the main window here. Let's throw in a string display, and this can just tell you use an expression, use a function, security, current username. Alright, so if we apply, I guess the default one is running, which is this. It should come up default, but we're in test mode, so that's what pulled up. So we'll go ahead and save it, run it real quick, just to check it out, because that was a first for me. Graphics firing up. It should just say default. We'll find out. It may just use the local default. Yep, see, default user. So if we log in, we'll use the operator. Operator password, enter. So it shows that the operator is one that's logged in right now. Now then it'll fall out. That's just a way to show or display your current user. Other than that, that's going to wrap up this tutorial. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Likes, dislikes, anything I could do to help improve, or other tutorials that you want to see. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay up to date on our latest tutorials. Please subscribe. Have a good day.